Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambeau channel, and here's a headline that sounds very positive. I was happy to see this and eager to take a read. This comes from crypto media outlet U Today. New RippleNet-based ODL corridor set up between Australia and Vietnam. Now, of course, ODL, standing for On-Demand Liquidity, which is Ripple technology, requires the usage of XRP. Happy to see that. The only problem is, I'm not so convinced that's a true headline, and I will explain why. It was too bad too, and I mean, maybe it still could be, but the fact that the SEC is going after Ripple the way that they are, attacking XRP also, and then to see a headline like this, I was like, oh, this is fantastic! Can't wait to learn the specifics and cover it on my channel. I'm not so sure that it's even a thing though. And then did you guys listening here? Did you see a video I put out just the other day about a Ripple competitor? Because people are concerned that it's just going to make XRP useless. Anytime I hear that, I'm just like, okay, let's sit down and have a talk. But here's the headline from Cointelegraph. Former PayPal employees launched decentralized cross-border payment network on Algorand. And so this is something that ultimately requires the usage of a stablecoin. And so I talked about the idea of, if you're going to utilize a stablecoin as a bridge currency, you have not solved for the issue of trust. You absolutely have not. And this is relevant. This is why this is such amazing timing, because I just put this video out the other day. And what headlines do we see today? A DeFi token touted by billionaire Mark Cuban collapses to zero. And apparently this thing, I hadn't heard of it before, but it's a stable coin. Well, how about that? Good job plugging in a centralized stablecoin into anything that's supposed to perform as a bridge. Maybe you can work in a closed, little walled garden, but it's never going to be a global solution. So the idea that something like that could be an XRP killer or serious competition, not for that use case. I don't see it. But I want to be clear at the outset. I don't have a financial background of any kind. I am not offering financial advice, and you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say, alright? I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos as a hobby. So let's dig on in. Publicly traded company Links Global Digital Finance Corporation has announced that its subsidiary Direct Agent 5, or DA5 for short, has kicked off a direct remittance corridor to Vietnam after integration with the local payments provider FinFan. The latter is Vietnam's biggest remittance company, and it works on RippleNet. And so I remember this news. It broke, I think it was October of last year, and you can see that this is the press release from at the time. There's only one mention of XRP and zero mentions of on-demand liquidity. Zero. And so here's what it reads at the top. This is the title first. FinFan partners with Ripple to bolster faster and cheaper international money transfers. And then they write the following. With a confirmed partnership with Ripple, FinFan has become the first neo-banking institution in Vietnam that will utilize the Ripple XRP blockchain network. Gotta pause right there. That's gibberish. Okay, the problem here is that there is no such thing as the Ripple XRP blockchain network. There's RippleNet. RippleNet's a thing. That's Ripple's proprietary software. It's a messaging system for payments. And then there's the XRP blockchain. That exists also. Not the same thing. That's a decentralized ledger. And so the XRP blockchain, also known as the XRP ledger, it's the same thing, though, whether you call it XRP blockchain, XRP ledger. In fact, I don't know who started calling it XRP ledger. I don't know if it was David Schwartz, one of the creators, or Jed McCaleb, or Arthur Bruto. I don't know, or maybe it was somebody else. But I guess I'm fine with it at this point. It's stuck, but it is just the XRP blockchain. I don't know why they decided to change the word, and that's what everybody calls it now, the XRP ledger. But there is no such thing as the Ripple XRP blockchain network. Gibberish. And this is coming from Ripple's partner on their official website. Now, there could be some sort of language barrier. In fact, I can, in reading through this, it's very clear that this is not a perfect translation of what they intended to communicate. But there's nothing about on-demand liquidity here. In fact, the only thing you can find on their website, they have a page where they talk about what on-demand liquidity is briefly, but it's on a entirely different page, and they don't say that they're using it ever, though. And so I'm not convinced that this is the case. The closest you could get to making the argument is that this DA5 Australia, they did get, where's it stated? Registered holder of a remittance license and a digital currency exchange services provider license in Australia. So if they're going to be utilizing Ripple technology for the payments portion, the messaging portion, super duper. But this is not clear. But it's in the news, and I of course I was going to talk about it. But I'm just being real with you. Like, I sat here and I was like, how do I even talk about this in a video? It just is not freaking clear. Usually, if somebody's utilizing on-demand liquidity, it's clear. I mean, if I had to guess, I don't think the answer is yes. If I had to guess right now, I don't think they are. I seriously don't. Because even in the brand new press release that just came out, there is no mention of on-demand liquidity. There simply is not. So take that for what it's worth. But still, I certainly felt obligated to cover it because that's a major headline, right? And so into the next piece. This is on what I covered just the other day. Former PayPal employees launched decentralized cross-border payment network on Algorand. And certainly nothing against Algorand, and it's not clear in which way the Algorand blockchain is incorporated with what they're doing here, to be perfectly honest. They just haven't shared that many details publicly in terms of functionally how all of this works. I happen to hold some Algorand coins, just happy to be transparent about that. But in terms of the way that money flows, they had a little chart, and I don't want to rehash my video from yesterday, but basically they stated, well, I can show you this part at least. USDC, a stablecoin, is required. So how does their whole integration work? Well, you integrate the 6 Clovers API, with 6 Clovers being the name of the company that's doing this. And then you have to obtain, this is a quote, obtain a reserve in USDC to transact on the Rapid network and offer instant payment. So that's their network, the Rapid network of 6 Clovers. And so you have to have a reserve of the stablecoin USDC. Absolutely required. And so I just noted, okay, fine, but this does not solve for a damn thing in terms of trust. It absolutely doesn't. There's no certainty with XRP or anything in life, technically, or Bitcoin. But I'll tell you what, nobody controls the XRP ledgers. All you have to trust is cryptography, right? And so then take a look at this. This is why I wanted to run through this. The timing's just so perfect of the collapse of a stablecoin the day after I was warning that there were trust issues associated with utilizing a stablecoin as a bridge currency. Because can you imagine if the whole world were utilizing USDC, or if they were utilizing Tether? And I'm not even convinced you could have a profitable business model doing this, but let's say you could. Let's say you get over that hurdle. You still have the trust issue, but can you imagine a world where that's used and then the stablecoin tanks and goes to zero, like did happen here? Like, that seems like a crazy amount of risk right there. I don't see how that works. But anyway, Iron Finance, a decentralized finance project shilled by billionaire Mark Cuban, has collapsed. Its Titan token went from nearly $60 to virtually zero within 24 hours. The Iron stablecoin, which is partly backed by USDC, how about that? Partly backed by USDC and Titan, also lost its peg. This is crazy. In his June 13th blog post entitled "The Brilliance of Yield Farming, Liquidity Providing, and Valuing Crypto Projects," the Dallas Mavericks owner revealed that he was a liquidity provider for Titan on decentralized exchange QuickSwap. And so it's funny because this actually could have potentially all been a scam. And so he did state that he got out, though, before the rug pull happened. And here's a quote: "I got hit like everyone else. Crazy part is I got out, thought they were increasing their TVL enough, then bam." And so Iron Finance, which had $2.2 billion in total value locked, urged all community members to withdraw liquidity from all pools in its Twitter statement, describing the incident as a bank run. It also added that the contract didn't allow for redemptions since the Titan price collapsed to $0. And then they wrap up the article by stating, "Many also suspect the team behind the project might have pulled off an exit scam." And so here, if you're talking about relying on global remittances, relying on a USDC for global remittances, please consider that USDC, there is no one auditing it. Do you think that countries around the world are going to be thrilled to have the legacy financial system replaced by a company that says, oh, no, we good for it. There's $1 for every single USDC. Is that going to be sufficient? Is there really $1 for every USDC? Well, I hope so. I don't have reason to believe that there's not, but I also don't have good reason to believe that there is, because there is no audit. It's all private. Well, what the hell do you do with that? With XRP, it's a public ledger, and you can verify everything that it is actually functionally there. So, I don't know, it all just seems absolutely bonkers to me. And then there's this headline as a result of all this. Billionaire Mark Cuban wants to regulate stablecoins after collapse of titanium token. Go figure. He got out in time. The rug was pulled, but he got out in time. Woo, that was close, but now it's time to regulate. Gosh, now I don't like it. Billionaire Mark Cuban believes that the real lesson that can be taken from the implosion of algorithmic stablecoin protocol Iron Finance is that the industry needs more oversight. The Dallas Mavericks owner told Bloomberg that it's up to regulators to define the term stablecoin and set out the terms of collateralization. And here's a quote. There should be regulation to define what a stablecoin is and what collateralization is acceptable. Should we require $1 in U.S. currency for every dollar, or define acceptable collateralization options like U.S. Treasuries or question mark? And so, I still don't see how you can have a world where there's stable coins that aren't backed by anything or not backed on a 1-to-1 ratio, because the stable coins that are introduced into the wild, if they're literally backed by nothing, who gets to use them, and what are they doing with them? Well, they're purchasing Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. So they're basically printing money out of thin air, which has no value, but it's accepted around the world, and then you can invest it into other stuff. So I'm just saying, I don't see how any of this works out. I'm willing to be persuaded, but I don't see how any of this works out if you don't have it backed on a 1-to-1 basis, and if it's not provably so. Because otherwise, somebody just prints their own fake internet money and then buys Bitcoin or XRP or whatever the cryptocurrency is, and everybody else gets screwed. It doesn't seem fair. So there we are. If you're not competing against Ripple with an open, borderless, just completely jurisdictionless, decentralized cryptocurrency with an open market price that's technologically sufficient, then you're not really competing, to be honest with you. So good luck out there. I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything that I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo.